Chapter 2, Coffee at Coorg. This chapter is about the visit of the author to a place called Coorg in South India and her experience there. A better part of a 2-hour drive saw us swear into Madikari, the headquarters of the Coorg district, originally called Mudu Rajukari, meaning town of Mudu Raja. It is the birthplace of India's first Field Marshal M.K. Cariappa and proudly displays his statue in the town center. The author had gone with her family to a small town called Madikari in the district of Coorg, and it was originally known as Mudu Raja. Mudu Raja means the town of Mudu Raja. So Mudu Rajakuri, and this place was also the birthplace of the first field marshal, that is K.M. Cariappa, and his statue, she says, is displayed in the town center. From the Madikari bus stop, we turned off into a country road that wound down before a sharp ascent between coffee bushes took us into an open space encircled by charming cottages on 3 sides. Now, this here is the description of a journey, of a drive from the bus stop to the place where she was going to stay. So they drove into the country road. Country road means it must be the rural type of area or the kacha road, and it wound up to very sharp ascent. That ascent means the climb up, and ascent means it's a uphill climb. So between that climb was between the bushes of coffee. So that means there were coffee plantations. On all that area was open space, and there were beautiful cottages on 3 sides of that in that area. The tiny lawn in the center had a wall on the 4th side encrusted with flowery climbers that were a riot of colors. The lawn that was around there in the cottages, they were covered. Encrusted means that they were covered with very hard layer of flowery climbers, lots of flowery climbers that were full of riot of colors, means very, very colorful. So they were very colorful flowery climbers which were climbing on the hard wall of the lawn. Above this wall, and reached by 2 flights of stairs, was the dining room. Now this is the place where she had to stay, and she describes this location very vividly, very clearly. So she says that above this wall, there were flight of stairs which they had to climb to go up to the room. So they had to climb up stairs which had a dining room and which opened to a patio. It was kind of a balcony, kind of an opening kind of a thing on stilts. Now this was the description of the open location where she was supposed to live. Lunch there, to the whisper of the silver oaks and a tinkling mountain spring below, was like tasty ambrosia. Now that means it was the lunch, they were having lunch at such a location where the oak trees are there, and you can hear the whisper of the oak trees. The whisper means the sound of the leaves, and the tinkling mountain spring below. The area around there, it tasted, the food that tasted in that ambience was very, very, very aesthetic and very satisfying. Okay. The balcony of each cottage hung off the grassy plateau. So there was like a grassy area in front, like a plateau, tableland kind of a thing, and the cottage balcony was above it. So it was like a little extension of the cottage. Each one boasted a wooden enclosed veranda suspended above silver oaks. Above the oak trees there was enclosed veranda which was above the silver oaks. Hibiscus creepers and dark green coffee bushes. There were hibiscus creepers and dark green coffee bushes. A homestead. Homestead is a place to stay in a home, a house which has been converted or transformed into like a room for stay by the visitors. A homestead in the middle of a coffee plantation was a heavenly place. Imagine the smell of coffee made it feel like a heavenly place. As peaceful as its name, Serene Woods. The name of the place was where they were staying was Serene Woods, and as peaceful the name sounded, the location between among the coffee plantation also was the same. The aroma of the dry coffee beans pervaded the entire area. The aroma, the smell of the coffee beans, it covered it effect like it was influencing the whole area, that small entire area. The food at this homestay was simple. The food was very simple, but consisted of several dishes which varied every day. So the food was simple, but the dishes, there were different type of dishes. There was a variety of dishes every day, and every day the food that was served was different, which varied every day. The service was quiet, courteous, and friendly. Next day, we were on our way to the renowned Tala Kaveri, source of river Kaveri. Now, on the next day, after the description of the whole place, that the service was very courteous, the people were very friendly who were with the place where they were staying, and it was really nice, quiet, peaceful. She says the next day they went to Tala Kaveri, with the place which is the source of the Kaveri river. Given the kind of legends connected to this only landlocked Indian river, it had been my dream for a long time to visit the place. Here is one legend. So there are many legends regarding this location of the river, the source of the river Kaveri, and one of the legends she narrates in the next half of the chapter. Apparently, the Kaveri or the Kaveri river was being held in the Kamandala, that is a container of sacred water, by sage Agastha. So actually it is said that the river Kaveri was held in the container by sage Agastha. When the sage was meditating, Vinayaka, that is Lord Ganesha, took the form of a crow and perched on the Kamandali, that is on that container. It's Lord Ganesha took the form of a crow and sat over it. As the sage shooed away the bird, as he tried to hunt away the bird, it tilted the pot with its beak. The bird tried to tilt the pot with its beak. Kaveri poured out of her captivity. The enclosed, it was captured inside, so it poured out of it and began to flow. The crow then transformed itself into a little boy. Now the crow transformed into a little boy. The angry sage, because the Kaveri started to flow out, the sage in anger, he tried to box the naughty little boy crow's ears. He tried to catch the little boy's ears. It is then that Lord Ganesha appeared in his true form. That is the time when Lord Ganesha, he took his true form, and aghast, that means shocked at his sin. Now the sage was so aghast and shocked that what he had done, and it was God, Ganesha, Lord Ganesha, that he had actually hurt. The sage knocked his own head with clenched fist. With his fist, he knocked his own head out of the shock that he had sinned against God, Lord Ganesha. That is the reason that the temple at Talakaveri is dedicated to Kaveri Amma and Sage Agastha. Kaveri Amma is the river Kaveri, and Sage Agastha. The temple there is dedicated to both of them. Another legend says that both Kaveri and Krishna rivers are girlhood friends and began to flow across the Indian peninsula together. They say that they were girlhood friends and they started to flow together. On the way, they quarreled bitterly and Kaveri turned back in a myth. So they say that the river Kaveri and Krishna were girlhood friends and they were flowing, but on the way they had a quarrel and river Kaveri turned back. So it is one river that turns back into the land and doesn't join the sea. River Kaveri is the only river that flows backwards and does not empty itself into the ocean as all the other Indian rivers do. Fascinating, isn't it? The fact that it is the only river in India that does not join the sea. Is it fascinating? Fact. Talakaveri is around 48 kilometers from Madikari. Talakaveri, the place of origin of Kaveri river, is about 48 kilometers from Madikari, where they were staying. As we climbed upwards, I noticed the pristine roadsides. That means she noticed the clean roadsides as they climbed that place, as they traveled that place. At short intervals, there was trash cans, and the ground beside the road was swept clean. The road was clean, and at short intervals, there were trash cans. That means dustbins were there, and the whole area was very clean. It made me wonder how much we, the self-centered urban people, need to learn from our comparators. Comparators means competitors, or the people or partners or companions of the rural who live close to nature. People who are living close to nature in the rural area, and we urban people living in the cities, we need to learn so much about cleanliness and some aesthetic sense, road sense, cleanness. We should be learning from them. Here, trust and faith in honesty was so strong that the plantations did not even have fences around them. People were so truthful, so faithful, so honest that there were no fences even around the plantations. Planted in regular rows, coffee bushes were hung with bunches of coffee berries in varied hues of greens, yellows, and red. There were different stages of the coffee bean ripening. So from raw to ripe stage, different colors of coffee bean, and the coffee bushes were hanging. And she goes on to say, tall silver oak and nilgiri rose at intervals to provide shade to the coffee. At regular intervals, rose plants, tall and nilgiri rose and other oak silver trees were planted to provide shade to the coffee plant. And in the underground were the this leaved bush of cardamoms. Underground, under the coffee, were the leaves and the bushes of the cardamom plant. Through the leaves, one could hardly spy the green cardamom pods become born on the stalks close to the ground. So now that means there were three levels of the plantation. First, the oak tree and the nilgiri rose to give shade to the coffee bushes. Second level was the coffee bushes, and the third level on the ground was the cardamom, which you could see very small cardamom, which was hardly seen also on the ground on the plant of the cardamom. So there were three levels: trees, bushes of coffee, and cardamom. Entrance to Talakaveri is through an imposing gate. It's a gate you can see in the picture, a very well designed gate. It is a recent structure bearing an uncanny resemblance to the architectural style of the Buddhist monasteries, with prayer wheel like overcaps. So there was the appearance of that entrance was similar to the Buddhist monastery structures with prayer wheels. It is heartening to observe that India, even in its remotest corners, shows a curious amalgamation, that means mix. Amalgamation means a mix of the diverse beliefs and communities it harbors. So we can see that even in remote places and far away places also there is some mix between diverse religious beliefs, communities, cultures in our country, India. Climbing numerous broad stairs that gave on to splendid views of green hills and blue forested valleys, and we reached the Kanduli. So finally there were lots of stairs, and as they could climb, the view was beautiful. The blue of the river and the green of the plantation, which finally led to the temple. The source of Kaveri is a spring that bubbles up only in the monsoon. That source where the Kaveri river is, you can only see it bubbling up only in the monsoon season. The Kundike, or a small tank of water, marks the spot. There is a small tank of water which marks the spot of the source of the Kaveri river. The river rises from the fountain head, that spot where the fountain is, and then gurgles underground to emerge some kilometers away as the Kaveri river. So it appears as a fountain top there, a fountain from there, and then goes underground and appears as river Kaveri a few kilometers away from the source. A small temple to Kaveri Amma on the paved ledge of the Kundike was a place of worship for throngs of pilgrimage. So there is a temple built there for Kaveri Amma, the river Kaveri as they call, for the people who come on for pilgrimage, and whole lot of people come on pilgrim to this place. A few more flights took us to the stone structure of the temple dedicated to sage Agastya and other deities. Then another flight of stairs which led to another temple which was dedicated to Saint Agastya and other deities and other gods. This is a pilgrimage site for many, and especially for the Kodawa clan. The Kodawa clan specially goes, there's a clan there which specially goes for pilgrimage to this place, and also this is a place of pilgrimage to many people. On Kaveri Changradi Day, usually in October, thousands of pilgrims flock here to witness the outpouring of the fountainhead. In the time of month of October, the outpouring of the river takes place, and at this time, many people come for pilgrimage to this place. They welcome the Kaveri as she gushes out of a predetermined moment with prayer. At a predetermined moment, there's a time of prayer. At that time, when it gushes out, they come to witness that. Sacred baths are undertaken here as in all the pilgrim towns on the banks of Kaveri. There are sacred baths. People come for sacred baths at this time to the river banks of Kaveri. Veneration of this river is understandable as she fulfills water demands not only for Coorg but all the Karnataka. So actually this river is literally worshipped only because of the reason that it is not only supplying water to Coorg area, Coorg district, but also to the whole of the Karnataka state. So that is why this river becomes a very, very important sacred river for the state of Karnataka. As I stood near the Kundigri, I observed a newly married Kodava couple had come with their parents to seek Kaveri Amma's blessing. Now, as she was standing there near the source of the river, she saw a Kodava couple who had come with their parents to seek blessings of the Kaveri Amma river. The ladies were gracefully garbed. Garbed means dressed in saris worn in Coorg's style, the style of that place, Coorg. The sari is pleated behind, leaving the front smooth and flowing. So the front is smooth, the pleats are behind. The end of the sari was pulled over to the right shoulder and pinned with a beautiful brooch. Over the right shoulder, it was pinned with a brooch. I was lucky that they agreed to pose for a snap. So the author, she posed for a snap also with them. On our return from Talakaveri, we passed the confluence. Confluence is the place where the three rivers meet, where Kaveri meets two of her tributaries called the Kamini and Karnika. This Sangam, this point where the three rivers meet, is also known as Sangam, as we also have in the city of Allahabad. This Sangam or confluence is a holy site to pay homage to departed souls. So people pay homage to the departed souls at this point, the Sangam point. Groups of devotees were performing rituals of reverence to their ancestors as our car passed by. This is the scene she saw. People, devotees, paying homage to the ancestors. The scene was a fitting end to a day consecrated or devoted to revering the omniscient existence not only within us but in the miracle wrought by nature. She says that this scene was an end, a befitting end to the consecration or what made sacred the place. That miracle of God, the presence of God, is not only within us but also His presence we see in nature. How these rivers are meeting, what is the beauty of nature around us in this beautiful area of Madikari where the Kaveri river flows.